Arsenal and Thierry Henry, and for a lot of players, they've still got that there. They're still like, Arsenal's a big club. London, 60-odd thousand. And a player like Ndidi as well, like African, he'll know all of, Arsenal's huge in Africa. And if Arsenal was to move out some of the players that we don't need, like you look at somebody like Mustafi's on £90,000 a week. That's a lot of money, right? I know he's improved recently, which he has.
He improves us 100-fold right away. You bring a Decore, put him into our midfield, he improves us 100-fold right away. Just that's why people were shouting out, get what do you call it, a Premier League proven player in Zaha over Pepe, because people are like, oh, they've seen Zaha play in the Premier League where they haven't seen Pepe.
And then at the end of next season, when Ozil's contract's up, I think Mustafi's up, there's a lot of wages are going to be freed up. So we might have to just take a bit of that pain for now. But what chance will we have of getting into the Champions League if Aubameyang ain't there?
And that brings me on to the next thing. Thomas Partey is another name that's linked with Arsenal. I see so many negative gooners in the comment sections. Oh, we can't pull him off. We're not this, we're not that. I think that's crazy talk. Now, Arsenal Football Club, for me, signed one of the best strikers in the world in Aubameyang with no Champions League football. Lacazette with no Champions League football. Pepe refused to talk to Liverpool Football Club, who are at the peak of their powers right now, because he wanted Arsenal. One of you can jump in on this one straight away. Thomas Partey, is it a doable transfer, and is that the level of signing that you now need moving forward?
It's a doable transfer. They said he's got a release clause of about £45 million. I think what the problem is going to be for Arsenal is that we don't have Champions League football. So, you know, Thomas Partey, he's at Atletico Madrid. They've got Champions League football. But it's a doable contract. I mean, he wouldn't, you know, his wages would be high, but it wouldn't be ridiculously high. And if Arsenal was to move out some of the players that we don't need, like you look at somebody like Mustafi's on £90,000 a week. That's a lot of money, right? I know he's improved recently, which he has, but 90 grand a week. El Neni's on 65. These are the sort of players, when people talk about freeing up money, those are the sort of players that we need to be shifting out, right? They're harder to shift because they don't want to go, because they know they ain't going to get that money anywhere else. So we ask, you know, what makes it difficult in a way is that historical stuff that we've had from the last regime. And that's what makes it very difficult for Mikel Arteta. But it can be pulled off. I do think, though, if we did get Partey, I think that would be the end of Torreira. I think the only way we'd be able to pull that off would have to be to sell Torreira, you know, because we're going to have to finance that deal. Because, as I said, the problem that Arsenal have right now, as I just said, they've got a lot of very mediocre players on a lot of very high wages. High wages. When you compare what some of those players are on compared to other players that are much better than them in other teams, it's jaw-dropping. So that's the problem. And as I said, those players, when I don't blame them, I'd be the same. Why, if I'm in El Neni and I'm getting 65 grand a week, why would I want to move to another club that's going to pay me 20 or 15, which is what I'm worth? But I'm staying put until my contract's finished. So it's going to take Arsenal a bit of time to get rid of some of those players that need to be moved on. And at the end of that, we'll be quite in a healthy situation as long as we're buying well. But in the meantime, just going back to the Aubameyang thing, it's not the type of player to sell, because that's one of the one good quality, I'd say, world-class striker that we've got in the team. We cannot, that's not what we need to shift out. And if it means we're going to have to take some pain to keep hold of him, then we take the pain, keep hold of him. And then at the end of next season, when Ozil's contract's up, I think Mustafi's up, there's a lot of wages going to be freed up. So we might have to just take a bit of that pain for now. But what chance will we have of getting into the Champions League if Aubameyang ain't there?
Yeah, I mean, none. I can't see none. Without goal scorers, you can't rely on Martinelli. We're going to get onto him later. One of the viewer questions was talking about Martinelli, but I think it's too much pressure to put on that kid's shoulders right now to be your main goal scorer, no matter how talented he is. Terry, on Thomas Partey, what's your views on that, mate? Is that a deal that you think Arsenal should be putting a lot of their time into, or there are other key positions that you think should be focused on first?
No, I think that is one of the key positions we need to get. I think every Arsenal fan knows that I'm not a Saka lover. I can't stand him. Get him out of my club. So for me, we need someone. I really like Torreira. I think he's one of our another one of our best players at Arsenal. I think if we can get someone alongside him, he will improve immensely under Arteta. Thomas Partey, I do like him. He's quick. He's a good footballer. My only worry with him is, like with Pepe and all these players that come from abroad, how quick is he going to take to bed into the team, get used to the English football and the Premiership, the fastness of the Premiership. It could take him a whole season like Pepe has done. And for me, Arsenal don't do well with release clause. Any player that's got a release clause, we don't seem to want to know, or we put a pound in like we did with Suarez. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So we ain't going to get in. So let's get that out of our heads, Arsenal fans. For me personally, I know he's a bit like Marmite, but I would rather go for someone like Jack Grealish. He's obviously knows the Premiership. He's a young player. He's bitty. He's nasty. You know what I mean? He's not a big, tall player, but I think he could hit the ground running for us. So I would go for him personally, because I think Villa are going to struggle to stay up at the moment.
Let me throw this one out about Jack Grealish. I want to ask Arsenal fan. I look at Jack Grealish and I see the player that a lot of Arsenal fans thought that Jack Wilshere would be.
Yeah.
Slightly different position on the left, but in terms of what he does creative-wise, Jack Grealish, would that be an encouraging signing for Arsenal? Do you think it's doable?
I think buying Premier League proven players would be an encouraging sign from Arsenal, because we always have this problem where our players have to adjust to the Premier League. So if we went out and got a Grealish or an Abdoulaye Doucouré, or we got an Ndidi, that would be a big improvement in our first team. And we know the effect they're gonna have in the Premier League. Because if you bring an Ndidi and put him in our midfield, he improves us 100-fold right away. You bring a Doucouré, put him into our midfield, he improves us 100-fold right away. That's why people were shouting out, get a Premier League proven player in Zaha over Pepe, because people are like, oh, they've seen Zaha play in the Premier League where they haven't seen Pepe. So it's just, my whole thing is, if we start buying Premier League proven players, it's almost like we're going to be doing the mold of what Liverpool have done with Gigi Wijnaldum and these kind of guys.
Yeah, I get that. That's obviously going to cost money. It's going to be an interesting one. We spoke about this with Kieran Maguire, the financial expert, earlier. The Premier League proven players will be interesting. Any club that are sort of looking at furloughing or deferring salaries, he said that's a key sign that there's some financial issues. They're the clubs that you may be able to exploit financially this summer, where you've got a Grealish that they were talking about £80 million for. You might be able to half that. So players like that might be more attainable. Indeed, the Ndidis of this world could go the other way. Leicester don't need to sell. Leicester can dig the hills, and they've got very wealthy owners, and say, well, we're not going to go anywhere. So I think that's going to be a real interesting one. But
not only that, Terry, I mean, why would it? Let's be honest. Why would he leave Leicester for Arsenal at the moment? I'm obviously an Arsenal fan, but why would he leave Leicester for Arsenal at the moment? Leicester's got a fantastic team. They've got fantastic players. They've got a fantastic manager. Let's be honest. What is going? I'm going to be realistic here. What is going for Arsenal at the moment? We've got, no disrespect. The kid is saying we're going to be selling Aubameyang and Lacazette. So what other star players are going to be at Arsenal? So why would you leave Leicester for Arsenal?
I don't think that's his point. I think his point is go to Norwich and get a Max Aaron for cheap, instead of going to Liverpool and those other teams and getting cheap players.
And I can understand.
I still think Arsenal's a pull. I do. I mean, because it's Arsenal still Arsenal a much bigger club than Leicester. I hear what you're saying, and Leicester have got a lot of things going for them at the moment. But the kudos of playing for Arsenal is still there for. That's why Pepe, like you said, came. Right?
Yeah.
With no Champions League football. That's why Lacazette came. Plus, as well, we can pay more wages than teams like Leicester. You know what I mean? If we do get into the Champions League, we can pay way more wages than those sort of teams. So Arsenal's still a pull, but the guys at the top,
that's what I mean.
They need to change their mentality, because there's still. I mean, I was reading what Cedric was saying the other day, and he's saying, I grew up watching Arsenal and Thierry Henry, and for a lot of players, they've still got that there. They're still like, Arsenal's a big club, London, 60-odd thousand. And a player like Ndidi as well, like African, he'll know Arsenal's huge in Africa. So it's still a pool, but we need to start operating like our mentality is not right at the moment. The mentality has been wrong. You know what I mean? We've been operating like, you know, like a mid to, and if you operate like that, you're going to be that. You're going to become that. So I just want to see us change that mentality. Yeah. But I mean, Grealish a great player. I think Grealish would be very expensive unless Villa went down. If Villa goes down, then even then, I think there'd be so many clubs chasing him that whilst he'd be cheaper than what he would have been, he'd still be a lot of money. So I think he still might be quite unrealistic, because every single team, as I said, is going to be suffering with after this coronavirus. They've all taken a mega hit. So the money's not there to.
I have an idea, Robbie.